Hey guys, Mogz here. So this is episode 5 of Ask Mogz Anything, the series where I answer questions from my community about Sideswipe and about myself. And this is a bit of a special episode for two reasons. The first is that, unlike most of the episodes in this series where I play the game live while answering the questions, in this one I'm going to do those things separately. So I'll just put some footage of me playing Sideswipe in the background, and I'll focus on answering the questions without any distraction. And the other reason it's special is that in this episode, in the final question, I'll tell you guys exactly where my name came from. So, the origin story of Mogz. Alright, let's get into the first question. Okay, so our first question comes from MydNyte Gaming, and they ask, "Hey Mogz, which game mode do you think is the best to focus on to rank up?" Which game mode do I think is the best to focus on? So, I think that if you want to stand the best chance, like the highest chance of just getting to a higher rank, I think 2v2s is always going to be the easiest. And the reason is that you can get an advantage over other players by joining with a teammate. So joining a party with a regular teammate, someone that you play with regularly, you can learn each other's play styles. You can even communicate on Discord or some other voice chat. And you just have an advantage because most players are going to be playing solo queuing. So if, you know, they're going to have random teammates every single time. So I think, yeah, 2v2s is probably the easiest to rank up. I think people tend to be at a higher rank in 2v2s than they do in 1s. 1s is just not very forgiving at all. If you make a single mistake, you're probably going to get scored on. So yeah, 2v2s, I just think, yeah, it's ultimately going to be easier to rank up in. So yeah, I think that's probably the best way. If that's your goal, just to get to a higher rank, then I would play 2s. Okay, next question comes from Nuts123, and they ask, "How do you deal with toxic teammates and opponents?" So I've answered a similar question to this in a past episode. I think it was episode 1. And I mean, toxicity in Sideswipe is pretty tame. Like, all you're really talking about is people using stickers. That's the main toxicity. And then also, I guess, celebrations, like, after they score a goal, they're, like, kind of moving their joystick back and forth when they're celebrating. So that can be, I guess, annoying if you're in a sensitive mood, but it's not like people are actually saying things to you. You know, people aren't actually typing like they are in Rocket League. So, I don't know, I think toxicity in Sideswipe is not hard to deal with. I think it's mostly in your mind, and as I said in an earlier episode, what you're talking about when you're talking about toxicity in Sideswipe is just little stickers appearing on your screen. So you might as well ask the question, how do you deal with stickers appearing on your screen? And my answer to that would be just ignore it. It's just that's nothing personal, and really toxicity from people, even if they are typing things to you, like in normal Rocket League, where people can say some pretty nasty things, it's still just, it's really on them. Like, it's a reflection of them, not of anything you're doing, or not of your skill or anything like that. It's just people like to troll, people like to be horrible, and yeah, I mean, I would just try to be bigger than it, just think of it as a reflection of them, not a reflection of you, and that's it. Just be the better person and don't respond to it. Just ignore it, yeah, and just mute them if it's really bothering you. I'd just mute them. Okay, next question comes from Zion, and they ask, "What do you think will be the special mode in season 4?" Yeah, good question. I've been thinking a lot about this. I'm not sure. I mean, I would love to say that they're going to come up with another new mode, maybe something like Rumble that we have in normal Rocket League, but I'm kind of thinking they might be done with the news, like bringing out new modes for now, and I'm kind of thinking they might just bring back hoops. But yeah, I mean, your guess is as good as mine, really. I have no idea. I just tend to think they might have, they got hoops, volleyball, so those are two kind of new modes, and then 3v3s is I mean, it's a new mode, yeah, but it's just kind of normal Rocket League, but with an extra player. So I tend to think that might be the end of the cycle, and that now they might just bring back hoops. I would like to see that, because hoops was my favorite extra mode. I'd absolutely love to start playing that again. That was, yeah, so much fun. I think it's really good to help you improve at the game as well. I think the amount that you use the walls in that, I think, is really good practice for using them in ones and twos. And yeah, I just really enjoyed the pace of it. I thought it was the angle of the goal, you got to aim directly down to score, and I thought that was a kind of really good challenge. You got to be more accurate with your shots, I think. So yeah, I really enjoyed hoops. I think it's just an awesome mode, and I hope they bring it back. But yeah, I'm not really sure. Okay, next question comes from Prince, and they ask, how do you improve your skills so fast in Sideswipe? So I don't know if they mean how do you improve them so fast, as in as fast as I've improved mine, or if you're just saying how do you improve them quickly. Well, I think improving your skills, if you're talking about mechanics, then free play is the best way. If you want to, just go into free play and practice, use my training routine, or come up with your own training routine to practice different mechanics, and just do it every day. Do it as often as you can until you master a mechanic, and then yeah, go play some casuals, or go play some competitive, and try to use them in game. But it's just time, really. You got to invest time into it, and if you don't know how to do a mechanic, or you're struggling with a particular thing, then watch a tutorial. That's why I make so many tutorials. I try to improve people's skills, and yeah, get the community working on different things rather than just playing matches. I think mechanics are really important. But overall, I think if you're looking at how to improve your game in general, I think watching back your own matches is a really, really good way to do it. So yeah, watch your own replays. It's easily one of the best ways to notice all of your mistakes and stuff. All right, on to the next question. Okay, next question comes from Coca Collie, and they ask, on what controller are you playing Sideswipe? So I personally play on a DualSense controller, so that's a PlayStation 5 controller. I used to play on a PS4 controller, I think I used to. I can't exactly remember, but I used to play normal Rocket League on a PS4 controller anyway, DualShock. And they're very, very similar. I mean, there's not a huge difference between the two. So I think either a DualShock 4 or a DualSense controller, I think is what I use, and it's really comfortable for me. But yeah, I mean, whatever you're comfortable with, I think is probably the best controller for you. But yeah, I personally use a DualSense, and I love it, and I highly recommend it. A little bit expensive, but it's really solid, and I've had it for probably 6 months now, I think, and I've had zero problems, no drifting, no issues at all. So yeah, I highly recommend it. Okay, next question comes from Ezio, and they ask, which one is better, controller or touch? So yeah, I mean, this is a kind of big question, and I think it really depends on the player as to which one they're more comfortable with. I know players who are Grand Champion level who hate controller and who got to Grand Champ only using touch. And so for them, touch is definitely better. For me personally, I started playing Sideswipe on touch, and I played up to plat 4 or something, I think, plat 4 on touch, and then I did try controller at one point, and then I didn't like it, and I ended up dropping it and going back to touch. And then I tried controller again maybe a couple of weeks later, and I loved it and switched to it, and I've never gone back to touch. And now whenever I do try to play on touch, I hate it, and it's just so awkward and uncomfortable for me. So I really think it's just whichever one you're used to. However, back when I was using touch, I wasn't very mechanical. So I wasn't doing stalls. I wasn't doing, I wasn't using gold shots and stuff that much. I think I was kind of into purple shots mostly because they're just easier to set up. But I think if you want to be more mechanical and you want to do things like stall chains, I think controller's just objectively better. But yeah, then I'm speaking as a controller player, so I just think controller's just simpler, and that all the controls are separate. There's no hidden buttons or anything like that. It's you got a physical joystick, you got physical buttons, and for me I think it just makes much more sense. Controllers are designed to be game controllers. That's the whole purpose of the controller, is to control the game. Whereas the whole purpose of a touchscreen is not to control the game. The whole purpose of the touchscreen is to display the game, and then as an additional purpose is, you use it to control the game. But I just think that dual purpose means that it's just objectively worse at being a controller. So that's kind of my logical way of looking at it. But at the end of the day, like, it's whatever you're most comfortable with, and I think just try both, and whichever one you like more, then go with that. Yeah, so I love controller. I've been playing with controllers my whole life with like car games like Rocket League and driving games and stuff, and so I'm just much more comfortable with it. But yeah, some people are total pros on touch, and they love touch. They've got tons of experience on touch games. I just personally have zero experience on touch games, so it's not good for me. But yeah, good. Thanks for the question. Okay, and the last question about Sideswipe before we move on to questions about me is from RLSS. That's a cool name. It's like paralysis without the P. And they ask, how do you get better with game sense and be more unpredictable? Yeah, so with game sense, as I said earlier, I think watching your own replays is really the best way to get good at that, because it'll give you a kind of zoomed out view, like a kind of wide angle view of the game. And rather than just being in the driver's seat while you're playing, kind of analyzing it while you're playing, which is quite difficult, I think it'll give you like a wider view and allow you to see the mistakes that you're making and maybe different angles of approach for particular plays. In terms of unpredictability, so this is a really good question actually, because this is super relevant to the training routine video that I just made on my main channel. So the fifth exercise in that training routine was all about self-setup attacking plays. So that's where you have possession of the ball and you need to make a play. So I think often the mistake people make here is they don't have enough mechanics in their arsenal, or they're not comfortable with enough mechanics to use a wide variety of mechanics in their plays. And so what ends up happening is they will just use the same 2 or 3 mechanics to make a play, and that just becomes easy to read for their opponent. And yeah, I think relying on just a couple of different mechanics to make those plays is a big problem for a lot of people. So I think just really learning and getting comfortable with as many mechanics as possible, and using that fifth training routine, fifth part of the training routine, and to just develop your plays and to have a wide variety of plays to use against your opponents, just to mix things up. And then on top of that, I think delaying your shot and delaying your movements for different amounts of time when you're making plays. So you don't want to just hit the ball as soon as you possibly can, or take your shot as soon as you possibly can every time. Sometimes that's great, but sometimes you want to delay the final shot as late as possible. Because as the time goes on when you have possession of the ball, your opponent is going to become more and more nervous, and they're going to want to jump in and make a save. So I think delayed shots and adding that to your game is really, really powerful. And I mean, if you watch any GC play, they all do it all the time. They constantly try to keep their opponents guessing as to when they're going to take their shot. Are they going to take it early? Are they going to take it in the middle? Are they going to take it really late? Or maybe they won't take it at all and they'll just fake it and go all the way down to the ground, and and then they'll continue to play. So I think, yeah, taking shots early, taking them in the middle, taking them late, and faking entirely, having all of those in your arsenal, as well as a whole bunch of different mechanics to make your plays with, that's how you become, an unpredictable god, really, in your attack. So, yeah, anyway, that's my really long answer to that question. I think, yeah, it's a great question. It's a really important one. And, yeah, it's just all about experience, variety, and mechanical skill. Okay, let's move on to some questions about me. So the first question comes from Programmer OD, and they ask, how did you become a YouTuber? Well, I really just became a YouTuber by starting to make videos. Originally I started making videos on this channel anyway of gaming reviews. So I originally was not going to be a Rocket League YouTuber. Or a Sideswipe YouTuber. I was originally, and I did do like 3 videos, maybe 4 videos about different games. Like, yeah, I was like I reviewed some space game. I don't remember what it was called, but it wasn't a good game. It was just, yeah, some random $10 space game that I found on Steam. And then I did like my top 10 games, I think. Top 10 like co-op games or something like that, and that was kind of cool. But I soon, Rocket League's always been a game that I loved. It's like my one true love game, and yeah, I pretty quickly switched to making tutorial videos about that, just because I had so much to say about that game. I've always thought about it really tactically, and just always had lots of advice for my friends and my brother that I play often with. And yeah, I quickly started making videos about that, and yeah, they did much better than my other videos. So yeah, I just transitioned to making Rocket League videos, and then as soon as Sideswipe came out, I started making videos on that. So and I do have another channel as well that I think I might have started on before my gaming channel, before Mogz, that is about my life, like about some just an aspect of my life. Much more serious videos, and yeah, that might have been before I started Mogz, and that was, yeah, kind of, I turned like my blog posts into videos. So I would start with a blog post, or I originally had a blog, and then I had like 10 entries in that, and then I made some of those blog posts into videos. So I think that was a kind of easy way to do it, because I didn't have to do the writing part. I didn't have to write a script. I just took a blog post and just created a video out of it and just recorded the audio. So yeah, but as I talked about in an earlier video, I originally practiced in front of a camera, recording my own speaking and getting used to that. So that was like a really important part of getting started and giving me confidence to speak in front of a camera or speak to a microphone, which is not a natural process at all. It's weird. So I highly recommend, if you want to get into being a YouTuber, you should do some practice first and just make some demo videos. Just make videos kind of for fun and for practice, and then you can just start refining your ability, and you just get a better idea of what kind of content you want to make. So anyway, that was a really long answer. Let's go to the next question. Next one comes from Jamie King. I don't know. Jamie King. And they ask, did you have a reason for doing YouTube, as in why and when, and did anyone tell you about it? Did I have a reason for doing YouTube? Not well. I wanted to do it as a job. Like, I thought it would be so cool to be able to make money from YouTube, as like a side job, like as like a extra pocket money. And I always enjoyed making videos. Like, I think I answered this in maybe the last episode. I used to really enjoy making like slideshows and just simple like music and video and pictures and video, put them all together and have, you know, get the timing of the transitions with the music. I just found that really satisfying. And I've always been into writing as well. So I thought like, creative writing plus music, which I've always been into as well, with like slideshow type stuff, all of that combined sounds like the perfect job for me. So I thought if I could do that for a job, even just like a part-time job, then that's amazing. So yeah, that was, I guess, my reason. But yeah, anyway, kind of already answered that one. So let's go next question. Next one comes from OD1 Plays, and they ask, how long have you been playing Rocket League, Sideswipe and normal Rocket League? So Rocket League, I originally started playing in 2015. So 2015, 7 years ago. And I'm like a super OG player, not alpha. Unfortunately, I didn't get into the alpha, but I was playing it from season 1, and yeah, I just fell in love with it within days, really, within like a few hours of playing it. I was like, this is like the most fun I've ever had, and I just have never gotten over it. It still is my favorite game of all time, and I've played a lot of games in my time. And Sideswipe I started playing in the preseason, so I think like the last week or so of the preseason is when I started playing it, and I loved it immediately as well. I was kind of like slightly addicted to it for a few days at least. I was just like walking around the house playing it all the time. And yeah, I thought I was already a Rocket League YouTuber at the time, even though I was a small one with only 3,500 subscribers. But I just thought, might as well make a couple of Sideswipe videos just to see how it goes. And yeah, I never expected to become a Sideswipe channel. I was absolutely blown away by the success of those early videos. So yeah, it was just unbelievable. So yeah, I started playing in preseason and loved it. And I don't play it as much these days, but yeah, I really enjoy making content more than I actually enjoy playing the game. So, but yeah, anyway, I'm very much an OG player of both games. And the next question comes from Fiery Elite, and they ask, Mogz, do you play other games other than Sideswipe and Rocket League? Yeah, so as much as I love Rocket League, it's not the only game I play. I've played a lot of Elite Dangerous in the past. I don't play these days, but I've always enjoyed that game. Also, recently I've been playing Helldivers. So this is a game that I've been playing for years. I only have like 100 hours in it, I think, but it's one of the best games I've ever played. It's just always fun, and I'm thinking of doing a video on my second channel about that game because it's just ridiculously fun, and I recommend you guys all play it if you're on PC. Yeah, it's such a fun game. Also Deep Rock Galactic, which I've talked about multiple times on these AMA videos. Also, what else do I play these days? I mean, these days those are kind of the games I play. Deep Rock and Helldivers are kind of my main two non-Rocket League games. I also played Project Zomboid quite a bit recently, which is like a zombie survival game. That's really fun. And also, what else? That's kind of it, really. Otherwise, I just play random games. I play mostly co-op games. Like I'm not really a competitive gamer at all. I don't play many first-person shooters, particularly competitively, just because I'm kind of bad at them. I used to be okay at. I played like Counter-Strike back in the day, but yeah, I was never great. So I'm mostly more into like casual games and survival games and stuff. So yeah. All right, next question comes from Simps, and they ask, what was Mogz's dream, and was it YouTube? So no, my dream wasn't YouTube. As I kind of mentioned earlier, I've always been into writing. So when I was younger, I wanted to be a writer, like an author. but I never really knew what style of author. I wrote a lot of poetry as a teenager, which is kind of lame, I know, but I was always, yeah, like a really poetic writer. Not really fiction, but yeah, just really ultra creative writing. So painting pictures with words kind of thing. So that was always my dream. I wanted to be a writer, but I didn't really know what I wanted to do with it, and I didn't know what how do you make money from super creative writing. And it was really only until I started my channel and I realized, oh, like I can combine, my love of writing, creative writing, with teaching, which is something that I do as one of my jobs in Japan. So I live in Japan, and I teach English to people, and I've always enjoyed that. I've always enjoyed teaching. So making tutorial videos on YouTube is really just a perfect combination of my love for writing, my love for teaching, and also my, as I said earlier, my enjoyment of like doing transitions and like syncing pictures and video with music. So it's just the perfect combination of all of those things. So yeah, I loved creative writing. I always wanted to, dreamt of being an author, sitting on a beach, like writing my novel and stuff. But yeah, it didn't. I guess it was just a slightly different manifestation of that. It wasn't books, but it was YouTube videos. So yeah, thanks for the question. And next question comes from Sethi Poo, and this is one of my YouTube members. So if you want to help support my channel, as Sethi does, then you can become a Mogz member, and it's not very expensive. It's like minimum of $1 a month, and up to like $5 or $6. So yeah, Sethi Poo asks, do you listen to music when playing Rocket League? If so, what type of music? So not really. I pretty much just, I play Rocket League really only with friends and my brother. So no, we're on voice chat all the time. But if I'm playing on my own, I've got like a Rocket League playlist that I used to listen to a lot, which was just like basically Alan Walker tracks, because I heard them in lots of Rocket League montages, and I thought they were just banger videos, and they kind of rev you up and stuff. So yeah, I used to listen to that a lot, but not so much these days. Pretty much. No, I don't really listen to anything. I just put the game on, and if I'm on voice chat, then I'm on that. If not, I just have the game sound on. But yeah, Alan Walker was my go-to in the past for sure. Alright, next question comes from Astro, and they ask, do you play an instrument? So yeah, these days, no, not really, but I used to play guitar. I was in a band, and yeah, I love guitar. Wasn't ever really good at it, and I never got any lessons or anything like that, so my technique's not great. But yeah, I used to play guitar, kind of rock, relatively heavy rock music. Alright, next question's from Pookie2. And they ask, who is your favorite Rocket League content creator? Bonus question, who do you think is your Rocket League equivalent? In the past, and anyone who knows me or is on my Discord would probably know this, Wait and Pilkin was always my kind of inspiration for making YouTube content, for making Rocket League YouTube videos. But these days, I'm actually not a huge fan of his content. I think it's taken a different turn. Ever since he started putting his face in his videos, I haven't liked any of it really. A couple of videos were really cool, but yeah, if I saw him for the first time these days, I wouldn't watch him. So yeah, he was originally my big inspiration. Also, obviously, Sunless Khan was a massive inspiration. His Why You Suck at Rocket League series, I just thought was just genius. It was just such an awesome combination of comedy and gaming advice and tutorial. Like, I just loved that. So those were the two big inspirations. Sunless I still like kind of, I think both of the, unfortunately both of those content creators have gone in a direction that's not really what I like, but yeah, they're both still really good, really talented guys. Yeah, also, who else? In terms of my equivalent, people often compare me to Waiton, so I guess, yeah, it's probably a decent comparison. But yeah, I don't really know. Other than Waiton, I can't really think of anyone who would be my equivalent. But yeah, I honestly kind of think of myself as being different from others, just because that's what I like. That's what satisfies me. Like, doing content that is unique is that's what makes me fulfilled creatively. And so people often ask me, like, well, why don't you do like a react to series, or why don't you do a, like, you know, players do the mechanics that they think they can do, or they claim they can do, or like, you know, your rank versus the rank you think you deserve, that kind of stuff. But it's already been done many times before, so I'm not interested in doing it. So that's why I don't do that kind of stuff. It's, you know, I just prefer to come up with my own ideas and stuff that makes me, you know, kind of makes me have like a mind blown moment, and I want to make other people have that kind of moment too. So yeah, anyway, good question. It's a cool question. All right, so the last question is not from a viewer, but it's actually from a lot of viewers. Where does my name come from? Where does Mogz come from? So in my previous episode of AMA, I asked you, gave you guys a hint, and no one actually got it right, unfortunately. Well, one guy did, but he's like an OG member on my Discord, and I thought he kind of had an advantage. So yeah, I didn't like give him, award it to him or anything. Okay, so my name actually comes from a book series called Clan of the Cave Bear, and in this book there's a character named Kreb, who's like a kind of shaman, like wizard kind of dude, and he's also like a father figure in the series, and his title is MOGZRL. So that's like it's like a hyphenated word, I think. It's like Mog and then space and then UR. So that was like his like shaman kind of title. He like talked to the spirits, talked to the gods kind of thing. And I just always loved that character. I read that book when I was a teenager, I think, and I thought he was he was kind of deformed, but he was so kind. So he looked really scary. He was like this big, scary, powerful wizard, but had a really soft heart, and he was like a really nice, really lovely, caring father figure, but really tough. And, you know, he taught the main character, which was a young girl named Ayla. And yeah, I just loved him. I just thought he was such a lovely character. And I identified with him, and yeah, so then my email address was MOGZRL. My username in Rocket League was MOGZRL. I've used MOGZRL as my username for years, and then my twin brother that I game with a lot, that I talked about earlier in this episode, used to call me Mogz as a nickname, and still calls me Mogz as a nickname. And then when I made my YouTube video, when I made my YouTube channel, I didn't want to call myself MOGZRL because that's often taken. Like, a lot of people use that name, actually, I think, because the series is maybe quite famous. And so Mogz was just the easy choice. Like, my brother calls me Mogz, you know, my gaming friends call me Mogz, so there you go, Mogz. And I didn't actually know that I didn't know who Mogz was, so it never occurred to me that people might confuse me or might associate me with Mogz, and I don't want to be associated with him. So that was kind of a shock to me. And actually, when I first started my channel, people told me I should change my name from Mogz to something else, and I was like, that ain't gonna happen, bro. And so I just hoped that one day, you know, when you type in Mogz into YouTube, it would not come up with "Did you mean Mogz?" So I don't know when that's gonna happen. Maybe when I hit like 10 million, it might happen. But yeah. So anyway, that's the origin of my name. So I know a lot of people have been waiting for that for a long time. But yeah, anyway, that's the end of this episode. I don't have any more questions, so this is a really long one, 35 minutes. And I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you have any questions of your own that you want me to answer, then you can leave them down in the comments. And you can also join my Discord server, where I've got a channel dedicated to questions for this series. So it's called Ask Mogz, I think Ask Mogz ? And you can put questions in there for me to answer in this series, which I'm doing, by the way, I'm doing once a month on about the 15th to the 20th of every month. I'll release one episode of this. So all of the questions that I collect during that month, I'll put in the next episode. But yeah, as usual, guys, come join the Mogz Discord server if you want to hang out with me and other Mogz viewers. Become a Mogz member if you want to help support my channel and you want to get access to special perks like playing games with me, as well as replay analysis. And you also get access to a special private Discord room where you can chat with me kind of privately and with other members. And go check out my second channel if you want to see me play games live, like Sideswipe, Rocket League, and other games with live commentary. And as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.